Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. I'm your host for this evening, Steve, aka Negative Ned. Unfortunately, Frank won't be joining us tonight again. He's away on business, so we'll do our best to hold down the fort. As usual, bear with me while I try to post a link so you guys can join the show. Give me 1 second here. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the Bruins, who had a really good month of January. We're going to talk about your AFC Champion New England Patriots, and after their win in Denver, and we're going to talk some Celtics. They're playing right now. They're playing. Who are they playing? The Clippers, maybe. Playing the Clippers. Clippers of the Kings. I forget. I was in the middle of doing some other stuff, and I kind of missed the boat there. But they're playing tonight. They had a 18-9 lead before we came on, so hopefully they can get a W and get back on track. They had a little bit of a tough week. You're gonna have to please forgive me. I can't see without my glasses, of course. So listen, exciting for the Patriots to be back in the Super Bowl after 5 or 6 years of misery without since Tom Brady left. I don't know anybody around here that's not excited. Okay, I'm having. Actually, no, that's that. Let me see this. Man, this is painful. All right, back on track. Let's do this. All right, we are going to start. We're going to start with the Bruins. They had a good week. Let me pull up their 1, 2, 1, 3, 1. They went 4-1 this week. They beat Vegas, Montreal, lost to the Rangers, beat Nashville, beat Philly. They've been playing better, a lot better ever since that 6-game losing streak. This whole month, they played well. I gotta tip my cap to them a little bit after dogging them for a while. They have played much better than I thought they would. We'll get to some of the numbers for the month a little later on. Right now, we'll do a little breakdown of the games. Old friend Bruce Cassidy was in last week for Vegas, and the Bruins surprisingly jumped all over him in the first period. They were all over Vegas. They scored 3 goals in the first period. They scored 3 goals in a 54-second span. Charlie McAvoy and Elias Lindholm both scored on the power play. Tanner Jeannot made it 3-0. Actually, no, he made it 4-0 in the second. No, actually, sorry. It was Jeannot. He scored the third goal in 54 seconds to give him the 3-0 lead. And Pasternak made it 4-0 in the second period. And then Vegas, I know Vegas at some point pulled their goalie. So they started playing better in the third period. They scored 31 seconds into the third, and then they scored again on the power play 3 minutes later. So now it's 4-2. And then they scored again with just under 3 minutes left. And it's one of those, as I like to say, no 3-0 or 4-0 lead is safe with the Bruins, and they almost gave it away. Vegas was all over them in the last probably 5 minutes. The last 2 minutes felt like 20 with the Bruins running around their own end. Vegas had 5 shots on net in the last few minutes, and they also had 2 shots that were blocked by Charlie McAvoy. And so they hang on for the 4-3 win. And Vegas is good. They're in first place. So, they're beating good teams. That's encouraging to see. The Bruins went 2 for 3 on the power play. The power play Again, this year has been really good. They're fourth in the league on the power play. So, that's a solid W right there. Danny, Stadium Series is on Sunday. Yeah, they're playing Tampa Bay Sunday. That's actually mint with no football going on. And I love those outdoor games, even though it's in Tampa, which I'm not a fan of. Just because I know they're doing stuff to keep it cool and whatnot, but I like it better when they play in like Utah and Colorado and they play outside or wherever it is, Chicago, when it's cold and snowy and all that. But nonetheless, that'll be something to look forward to Sunday for sure. Next, the Bruins beat Montreal 4-3. Again, Montreal's been playing good. They're always a tough out for the Bruins. They're smaller, they're faster. The Bruins have not fared well this season against them for the most part because of the speed. And, typical Bruins killer Cole Caulfield decided to get a hat trick. And, the guy's just sick. He scored in the first to make it 1-0. Arvidsson tied it on the power play from Fraser Minton on a nice pass. And then later in the period, Caulfield scored again on the power play. He scored on the power play, and then they got a 2-1 lead. And then Geeky scored on the power play and tied it too. It was nice to see him get back on the scoreboard. And then 4 minutes later, Caulfield scores again, gets the hat trick. So he gets a hat trick. He gets a natural hat trick for them, which is 3 goals by the same player. So listen, they never stop this guy. He scores on the power play, makes it 3-2. Fraser Minton scored about 6 minutes later. 6 minutes left, sorry. And then 12 seconds after that, Geeky scored again on the power play to give the Bruins a 4-3 lead. I really thought they were going to lose this game. So for them to be able to come back the way they did, kudos to them. They fought and they did a good job. Montreal challenged that power play goal, but the goal ended up being stood. So I forget what the challenge was for again. Goaltender interference maybe. And it wasn't. It was one of those things where, we're all sitting at home going, oh, my God, they're going to freaking call this back. It's bull crap, which is what I was expecting, typical of the NHL. But they actually stood by and got it right finally for a change. Jeremy Swayman stopped 22 of 25 shots. He was sharp when he needed to be. Excuse me. There's really nothing he can do about Caulfield. I mean, the goals really weren't his fault, as usual. But, another good win. That's a team that's in your division. I really wish that they would play each other more. I don't like that they only play each other 4 times or whatever it is. But that's an argument for another day. Anytime you can beat the team you hate, it's a good day. So I'm happy about that win for sure. Next game, they go to Madison Square Garden, play the Rangers. This is a makeup game for the Rangers after getting shellacked 10-2 here a couple weeks beforehand. So there's no way they're going to lay down. I had heard a stat before the game that the Rangers only have 5 home wins this year. And before the game, they had some kind of ceremony where they had a bunch of the legends there. And they had some kind of throwback uniform on. So that they were going to be geared up for this. It's an original 6 matchup. You just got croaked by these guys and gave up 10 goals. So it's not going to be an easy out for sure. The Bruins, the Rangers, they took a 2-1 lead at the end of the first. In the second period, Geeky and Lindholm both scored to make it 3-2 Bruins. But the Rangers in the third period scored with about 6 minutes left to tie it up. So it's tied at 3. The game goes to overtime, and the Rangers score with 1:07 left. I would say there were times where it just looked like the Bruins couldn't generate any offense. The shots on goal says 28-24, but there was a period there where the Bruins weren't really generating. It looks closer than it was. They looked like they couldn't generate any offense. So give the Rangers credit. I think they're in the basement in their division. Not to double check that, but they're not having a good year. A lot of turnover there. They have a new coach this year. They traded away some guys. I'm pretty sure they're going to trade some more guys at the deadline. That'll be a thing for another day. I think the trade deadline's in March. We'll recap that then. Next game, Nashville, 3-2 win. Yours truly couldn't stay awake and dozed off, so I didn't get to see a lot of this game. I do know that Pasternak scored the game winner in overtime, and Jeremy Swayman stopped 20 of 30 shots. He had to have been good in this game for them to get that. Again, I don't have as much information as I'd like. Like I said, I dozed off, so apologies for that. But Nashville, they're a team that's on the bubble for the playoffs, and they had been on kind of like a mini winning streak coming in here, and they were off. The prior couple of days to play in the Bruins, so they were rested. And Bruins, they gotta have the effort, and they had it. So to get the W, it's a good win for them. Last night against Philadelphia, the Bruins got a 6-3 win. Philadelphia has been improving. They were on the cusp of making the playoffs, unless they're in second place. I forget where they are. I should have looked. They're either in second place or they're like on the cusp of making the playoffs. I forget where they are, but the Bruins jumped all over them too. The Bruins scored 2 goals less than a minute apart, approximately halfway through the first, on goals by Arvidsson and Zacha. Zacha's was a beauty. That was a snipe. Arvidsson, he's had some goals over the last couple weeks, last couple games rather. So it's good to see him heating up again. Last year he only got 20 goals for Edmonton. This year he's got 13 already, and he's missed some games. So he's on pace for at least 20 goals as long as he stays healthy. And that's better than what I thought they were going to get out of him. He's on an expiring contract. I think he makes $4 million this year. I think he's 32, and he's got a legit shot at between 20 and 25 goals. I think finally, the coach Marco Sturm is finally figuring out the lines, put some guys together. Last night, they were without Elias Lindholm. He went down with an injury the prior game, and they brought up Matt Poitras from Providence. He's having a decent year down there. He played on the third line. Didn't hear his name a lot. I mean, to be expected. But, he's a young guy that, I don't want to see them give up or trade. I don't want to see them give up on him or trade him. And so it's nice to see him back here. Hopefully he can contribute and make a difference. And we'll see what happens with that. But 2 minutes into the third, Fraser Minton got a pass from Middlestat on the left side, walked in and sniped it, rifled it right in for a 3-0 lead. That was a beautiful goal. The Bruins, less than a minute later, gave up a goal to cut the lead to 3-1. But then Middlestat scored. He scored with about 4 minutes left for a 4-1 lead. And then Jeannot scored to make it 5-1. And so, again, when it's 5-1, it looks like a runaway. But Philly scored with a minute and 20 to go in the period. Less than that, because it was 1:20 when Bruins scored, and then 25 seconds later they scored. So inside the last minute, again, my pet peeve with them is they can't stop giving up goals within the last minute of a period, and it bit them again. So they're up 5-2, and really should not have been in danger of losing this game, except they give Philly a lot of chances, which they couldn't slow them down. So that's how it goes at the end of the second. Then, um, let's see. Philly pulled the goalie with about 3.5 minutes left, and Husadinov scored empty net goal to pretty much ice it, and then they scored later on to get the 6-3. But Swayman stopped 33 of 36 shots. He was good in this game. He was sharp. And, again, another team that's chasing you or whatever for points for a wild card or whatever they're doing. And they have Rick Tocchet is the coach there. He's been doing a good job for them. So, listen, the Bruins had a real good month. At the very beginning of this month, I had said that, the Bruins had 14 games in 30 days or whatever, 29 days, right? And, I thought it was really going to be a tough stretch for them, but they had a 5-game homestand. They won all 5 games as opposed to the previous 5-game homestand where they lost 4 out of 5. For the month of January, they were 11-2-1. They were 9-0 at home, 2-2-1 on the road. Jeremy Swayman was 6-0 at home. Corpusalo 3-0. In January, Swayman was 7-2 with a 2.96 goals against average. Those numbers get skewed by those 2 games where he gave up 6 goals. So, I know we don't throw them away, but if you could, his goals against average would be probably closer to like 2.2, which, overall, he's having a good year. He's 22-12-2 with a 2.87 goals against average overall. So, it's much better than where he was at last year. He's done a better job. And, hopefully the workload won't wear him down. He was nominated to play for the Olympics. I meant to get the list. The Bruins have 8 players representing their countries in the Olympics. Swayman's representing USA. Charlie McAvoy's representing USA. I don't have the full list. I think Pasternak's representing Czech Republic or whatever they call them now. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I don't have the other names in front of me, but I'll get it because the Bruins only have 2 games next week, and then the Olympics starts right after that. So by the time we're on next week, the Bruins will have played both those games, and I'll have the list of where everybody is, and we'll keep track of that. So there will be over the next few weeks more Olympic-related reporting here, and less probably Bruins because they're not going to be playing. So, the Bruins had a great month, and they couldn't gain much ground in the division because Buffalo and Montreal both playing well. All 3 teams are tied with 67 points. Buffalo is currently in 3rd. Montreal's in 4th. The Bruins are in 5th because those 2 teams have games in hand on the Bruins. But Montreal and the Bruins are both firmly entrenched in wildcard spots. Montreal's 8th, the Bruins are 9th. And they are both 8 points ahead of Florida and Washington for the wildcard, those wildcard spots. So, listen, I did not have the Bruins being in a wildcard spot. I had them like 9th or 10th, and that still could happen depending upon, injuries and what happens in March, at the end of February and March when they come back. But, going into the Olympic break, if anybody would have told me that the Bruins would have a wild card spot, I would have said no, right? And again, I eat a lot of crow on here, so it's par for the course. I got to give them credit, and there's a couple other things here. I didn't realize until I looked it up. So the Bruins are 4th on the power play. They're also 4th in the league in scoring goals. Which is surprising to me. Nobody had them with the scoring the way it is. Power play 4th, what an improvement, huge. The coach they got, Steve Spott, that runs the power play, just a complete 180 from last year when they were like 15%, like near the bottom of the league. Just awful. Morgan Geekie has heated back up, thankfully. He's got 5 goals in his last 6 games after a 12-game drought. He now has 30 on the season. So it's nice to see him getting back on track. I'm pretty sure he's back with Pasternak. He was on the third line for a little bit, and I'm not saying that Stern won't switch him back and forth around or whatever at some point if they're not playing well. But it's nice to see him get back on track. They're going to need him. Pasternak can only do so much by himself. Not going to be able to do it all. And he's another guy. He's on pace for another 100-point season. This will be his fourth in a row. So he's playing really well. His playmaking ability is just didn't see it coming, I guess you could say. I've known him as a goal scorer, a sniper. 40-something goals a year, and the passes that he's making in these games, he's getting like, 2 assists here, 3 assists there, blah blah, whatever. Just the passes he's making is I didn't know he had it in him to be that kind of a playmaker. So real good stuff. We'll be looking forward to Stadium Series game with Tampa on Sunday, and then the Olympics start. So we'll still have stuff to talk about with the guys that are playing for their countries in the Olympics coming up. So, mini round of applause to the Bruins for right now for what they're doing, because they're in a playoff spot. So good for them. Let's switch gears now. We're going to talk about the Patriots. Where are we? Patriots. New England Patriots finally won a game in Denver in the playoffs. It miraculously did not happen under Brady and Belichick. They were 0-3 in Denver in the playoffs. I can't believe they didn't get at least one win up there. It's been historically bad for the Patriots to play there. So the Patriots have done something that no Patriots team has done in 66 years until this year. And the game was not pretty, weather related. Mostly in the second half, the snow came in. It was like blizzard conditions. Couldn't see anything. Couldn't see the lines on the field. Nobody knew what line the ball was on, the markers and whatnot. Nobody could tell what anything was in the second half. And I'm glad that we were on the right end of that game. I love watching those games. I don't know too many people that don't. There's a lot of teams building new stadiums, and they're putting them in domes, and so a lot of the teams that are getting new stadiums, they want to have a place where they can have concerts and more entertainment and stuff, and maximize the stadium and get more money. And so in the end, it's always all about money. So I love the outdoor games. We had the game last week, the previous week with Houston here with the snow. I hope they don't all go away. Denver was mentioned today, I heard, as one of the teams that's looking to put a dome in a new stadium for them. And I'm like, that's awful. I don't like it. But nonetheless, let's recap this game. The Patriots won the toss and elected to defer. Excuse me. And luckily they stopped the Broncos on the first drive. So, excuse me. So they're getting much better at not allowing opening drive touchdowns. They went through a spell there for 7 or 8 games in a row where they weren't making any stops. But that's what happens when you have all your guys, Milton Williams and Robert Spillane. Having those guys back makes a huge difference. And I think that, both teams' opening drives kind of like a feeling out process. The Patriots didn't do anything. They had to punt 3 out. And then the Broncos get the ball back, and Stidham hits a pass to Mims for 54 yards. and get a touchdown. And he beat Gonzalez. So it was a 4-man rush, so no pressure on him. And he made the pass, and I was like, "Oh boy, here we go. This is going to be long if we're going to do this." But luckily, the game didn't go that way. But that was a little scary for them to give up that big play like that, Gonzalez. He's been burned a time or two this year. And Mims isn't the guy I would expect to beat them. It was Cortland Sutton. He's their best wide receiver. But that guy's a burner. And he went down there and made it work. Let's see. Patriots, not really much going on their second drive. They ran for a first down, and then on 2nd and 12, May threw a long pass to Butte for incompletion. They take these shots down the field once in a while. You have to do that and open up the defense. But he was going up against Patrick Surtain Jr., who's really good, just like his father. He's a good player, and they couldn't make a connection there. Broncos third to get Patriots have to punt. Broncos get the ball back. A couple of runs by Denver, run for 9 yards. Somebody had him in the backfield. I forget who it was, whiffed, and let him get away. So you're not going to be able to have too many missed tackles. That's going to be a bugaboo if you don't fix that. On this particular drive, they got 2 first downs, and Spillane got injured and did not return. He came back to the sideline. They said he had an ankle injury. He has not practiced this week, so I don't know if he's going to be back or not. We'll get into that later. But the Patriots stopped him and forced a punt. Patriots started on their own 20. May got sacked for a loss, 9-yard loss, and then May made a pass to Stevens on 3rd and 15. It was low. Patriots had a punt again. I mean, just tough sledding against Denver's defense. Their defense is really good. And you're talking about the third, the third of, the third of top defense you've played. You played San Diego, good defense. Houston, probably the top defense in the league. And then you got Denver, who's like second or third in defense. Seattle's up there too. We'll get to them shortly. But tough games. These games. Excuse me. Broncos next drive. They make some first downs. They get the ball. They get the ball. They had good field position because the punt that Barringer made was kind of a shank, and they started on the Patriots' 47-yard line. They make some runs. It's 4th and 1, and Denver takes a timeout at the Pats 14, and they decide to go for it. They don't kick the field goal, and luckily, Stidham's pass was almost picked off, and the Patriots hold him. That's a key turning point right there because they could have went up 10-0, and could have made things real difficult. But Sean Payton took a gamble there, and luckily for us, it didn't pay off. So we hold them. We start on our own 14-yard line. Drake May gets sacked. Makes a pass for Douglas, high, incomplete. And then Drake May throws one to Mac Hollins for 17 yards, gets a first down on 3rd and 13. That was a good play. And then May got sacked again a little later on, so they had to punt. So a tough sled. They get into May, the offensive line, especially on Will Campbell's side, and I'm not going to pick on him. Him and Jared Wilson, the rookies, they get picked on there, and they somehow have to figure it out and do a better job protecting Drake May, or he's going to get croaked, which we already know. So Broncos are starting at their own 17. They make a first down. They got 3rd and 4. Patriots pressure Stidham. They hit whoever hit him, I forget who it was, forced a backwards pass, turnover. That play should have been a touchdown. The Patriots, it was kind of a fumble. The Patriots recovered it, ran in the end zone, but a whistle had blown and blew the play dead. And what they originally called after that was an incomplete pass, not a fumble. But then when they reviewed it again, it turns out they ruled that as a backwards pass because he was trying to shuffle the ball away. Whoever the hell he was trying to throw it to, I don't even know who was there. But luckily they ruled correctly, and Patriots get the ball, and it's 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. Drake May hits Booty for 6 yards, and then on the next play, Drake May called his own number, ran it right up the middle for a touchdown. So good to cash in there and not get stopped, and not cost yourself, and have to settle for a field goal. You definitely got to cash in and get a touchdown there. They get it. Broncos get the ball back. They make a first down at the 2-minute warning, and then on 2nd and 10, Barmore gets a sack. He sacks Stidham. Timeout Patriots, and then it's 3rd and 18. They make a pass for 12 yards, get stopped. Patriots get the ball back. Now, the Patriots, they run it for 5 yards. Pass to Henry was dropped to Hunter Henry. Drake May passed to him. He dropped it. He struggled a little bit in the playoffs, but he's still, too valuable. They need to get more out of him, obviously. He knows that. But, they got 4th and 2. They're forced to punt with 57 seconds left. And Broncos get the ball to him at midfield. And, they make a pass to the running back, and Gibbons missed the tackle, so he runs for a first down. And then Stidham hit Sutton for a 6-yard gain. And they made a 54-yard field goal attempt. At the end of the, they made a 54-yard field goal at the end there, and it was no good. It was wide right. The Patriots get the ball back. They're starting at their own 44. Sorry. There was a false start penalty by Will Campbell, pushed him back, the Patriots, they got the ball. They got the ball close enough to try a 63-yard field goal. It was missed, no good, wide right. I don't even know if he had the leg for it, but a couple missed field goals there. They go into the half tied 7-7. At the half, Drake May was 7 of 14 for 41 yards. No touchdowns. He did throw a pick earlier in the game, but the pick that he threw was down near the Broncos goal line there within 4 yards of it. So it was almost like a punt. It wasn't costly. But he was sacked 3 times in the first half. That's not good. And the Patriots were kind of running the ball decent. 9 carries of 43 yards. That's almost 5 yards a pop. And luckily, because they deferred, they got the ball back first. And this is where this is a great drive for the Patriots. They shoot up a ton of clock. I forget the number. Oh, I have it here. Hold on. This is where they chewed up 9.5 minutes to open the third quarter. We had Stevenson run for 2 yards, run for 3 yards, first down, run for 1, run for 12 yards. That was a huge play for a first down. Then Henderson came in and ran for 7 yards, 4 yards, lost 3. Drake May, this is where it was 3rd and 9. And Drake May ran for 28 yards down to the Broncos 15-yard line. It was a great run. And they got a first down there. And then May was pressured on a blitz and threw it long for Stevenson, incomplete. Then he made a pass to Henry for 9 yards. That's a good thing there to get that. It's 4th and 1, timeout Patriots. May sneaks it for a first down. That play went under review. Denver challenged it. Didn't think he made the spot, but you could barely see Drake May in the pile at all. I don't know how they were going to reverse that. That would have been bullcrap if they turned that over. So they get to keep it. So it's 1st and goal from the 7. Stevenson runs and they get down to the 2. They try that old Brady to James White direct snap whoopsie-doo thing, and that ball almost got bobbled by Stevenson, so he got stopped. He was lucky to get it back, and there was no gain. And then May got sacked for a 2-yard loss, so they couldn't cash in and get a touchdown there, and they had to settle for a field goal. So they go up 10-7. So after all that, 9.5 minutes, got to settle for a field goal. Denver gets the ball back. They get it all the way down to no, they had a 3-and-out and they had to punt. Patriots got the ball back. This is where another drive, and the Patriots got down, and they had a 46-yard field goal attempt, and it was no good. It went right. At that time, I think the snow had started picking up, and the wind was starting to whip in there. So, it was tough to try to kick. Both kickers had a hard time in this game kicking the ball. Broncos' next drive, there was a pass that was broken up by Marcus Jones on a good play. Patriots get the ball back. They start their own 20 because it got kicked out of the end zone. Stevenson runs for 11 yards for a first down, good play. And then after that, May got sacked again for another 8-yard loss. That's a 4th sack already. Forced another punt. Broncos started their own 30. This is where in the 4th quarter now. The snow's starting to really come down. And, just tough sledding all around. Stidham got chased by Barmore on a play, threw it away, threw another pass incomplete, and they had a punt. And the punter, I'll say this, the punter for them remind me a little bit, and, don't beat me up here, but he reminded me a little bit like Ray Guy, the old punter from the Raiders who used to kick the ball out of bounds and pin teams deep in their own end. He's a Hall of Fame punter. He's probably the only Hall of Fame punter there is. He was phenomenal. This guy reminded me a lot like him. He punted the ball out of bounds on the Patriots' 8-yard line, pinned him deep. On the first play, Stevenson slipped, and then May went down for a loss of 3 yards. And, 3rd and 11, Drake May rolled right, just threw it away. Nothing going on there. He got chased. So they punt again. A lot of punting going on back and forth here. The Broncos actually, the punt, let's see, Harvey ran into his own lineman, lost 2 yards. Somehow they were on the Patriots' 33-yard line. The Patriots pushed them back, and Denver went for a 46-yard field goal, and it was no good. It was actually tipped by Leonard Taylor, who was signed from the practice squad, I believe. Huge play getting that block. So Patriots, they luck out, and then Patriots get the ball back. They had a punt, and get the ball back. Broncos get the ball back. They start their own 32, and there was a pass. Stidham's got intercepted by Gonzalez, and Patriots start on their own 36. Now you get the 2-minute warning. Stevenson runs for no gain. Timeout Denver. Drake May runs for 7 yards. Gets a first down. It's a huge help. Next play, penalty on Denver for encroachment. And then they kneel it down. They get the 10-7 W. The snow was brutal. You know, that's an ugly win. So listen, people want to talk about the Patriots have the easy schedule and this and that. And look, sometimes you have to win games ugly. Earlier in the year when Philadelphia was playing Buffalo, they beat them 13-12 late in the year. And so, look, every game's not going to be 300 yards and, 28-20 or whatever. You're going to have these games. And so these guys, toughed it out. They stepped up. They made the plays they needed to make when they needed to make them. It's encouraging. They've cut down on the penalties a wicked lot. So they're playing better. They're playing as a unit. They're playing cohesively. They're playing for each other, which is good. All good things going on. And, listen, it's a great win. I'll take it. It's 10-7. It's ugly. But, even the Patriots, when they had Tom Brady, had some ugly wins here and there. Every game wasn't a blowout. So you have to learn how to fight through and win those games. They're doing it. And it's great to see. This is a game where they would have lost over the last 2 years. They definitely would have lost this type of game last year or the year before, even with Belichick coaching. Just the way that they were, fundamentals just off, penalties up the wazoo. So they're learning how to win these games, and it's to their benefit. Drake May, 10 of 21, 86 yards, but he had 10 carries for 65 yards and that touchdown. Jarrett Stidham was 17 of 31 for 133 yards and a touchdown. Other than that 54-yard bomb, he really didn't do too much. The Patriots are the first team in NFL history to go 9-0 on the road, and they are the first team in NFL history to go to the Super Bowl after losing 13 games the previous year. So, the Patriots are breaking records still. Everybody's upset. All the haters are hating. So let them, because it feels good to be back in the Super Bowl. It's been too long. I do want to touch on two more things real quick before we switch gears. One is there's a report out now that Drake May hurt his shoulder. Nobody's saying when he hurt the shoulder. They don't want to say if he hurt it before this game or during this game. They're not saying how bad it is. Some scuttlebutt about, he missed practice today due to illness and shoulder. They questioned Mike Vrabel. That's what he said. Hurt his he's got an illness and he hurt his shoulder injury or whatever. They asked Drake May about it. He said, look, it's a long season. It's 30 weeks. Everybody's got soreness. So listen, he's been sacked 5 times a game for the last 3 games. He's getting hit, 6, 7, 8 times a game. Things are going to happen. We're just going to have to hope that, during this upcoming week before the game, it's not serious. And we're going to find out because, when he goes to throw a deep ball, we'll know what it looks like because he's been money spot on those 20-yard, 30-yard passes this year. And so we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think it's serious. I think it's just they have to report something or they'll get fined by the league. I think that's all it is. I think it's just poo-poo, nothing to worry about, in my opinion. And the last thing I'm going to touch on is Bill Belichick got snubbed for the Hall of Fame. He did not make it on the first ballot. He needed 40 of 50 votes in order to make it. 11 people didn't vote for him, so he got 29 votes. Some of the people that vote came out and said, yeah, I voted for him. I don't think anybody's supposed to say anything, but a few of them have come out, and one guy whose name I don't have in front of me right now, he came out and basically said, hey, the feeling in the room is that it was Spygate that held him out. And so they're blaming Spygate. They're holding it against him. Excuse me. I already had the what's not a negative Ned rant, so I'm not going to rant here about it, but I just think that they shouldn't be holding this stuff against him. None of that stuff should matter because it was all bullcrap. Everybody was filming. Jimmy Johnson came out and said everybody was doing it. It's just a matter of where they put the people when he got caught. And he said that he's not going to go to the Hall of Fame ceremony now because he's not in it. Usually, excuse me. Usually all the living legends, show up at the ceremony with the gold jackets and whatnot sitting behind, and he's not going to go. And I wonder how many more won't go. I'd be surprised to find out how many more will be in that camp. But between the Spygate, the Deflategate, just a bunch of horse crap, they still had to go win games. I was on Frank's show, Box Seats, earlier, and one of the guys on there was like, hey, did they take any wins away? No. Did they take any Super Bowls away? No. So then it's irrelevant. They didn't strip anything away. He's got 8 Super Bowl rings. He's got over 300 wins. He's one of only 3 coaches, I think, that have that many wins. He's going to be known as the greatest coach in NFL history. And there was actually talk about renaming the Lombardi Trophy after him. And switching the name from Lombardi to Belichick. So, listen. It's just because people want to be petty and because Bill wasn't nice to them and they want to hold the Spygate against him. That whole thing happened because Eric Mangini ratted him out because he couldn't beat him. That's the only reason that happened. They got fined. They got draft picks taken away. They had a punishment. They paid it. Other teams get caught doing stuff. They pay the penalty, and that's it. I'll give you another name real quick. Excuse me. I wouldn't be surprised Pete Carroll is going to come up to be a Hall of Fame nominated for his work with Seattle. They won a Super Bowl there. When he won the Super Bowl, there was their first one. They never won Super Bowl, right? And they also had some kind of cheating thing going on or something like that. They got fined too. So you got to tell me Pete Carroll's not going to get in now? If they do that with everybody, you'll have nobody. Because I'll use the famous Al Davis line: if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Everybody's always looking for a leg up. And I'll leave the Belichick thing with this. He's one of the only coaches I know that actually gets the rules changed because of how good his team was. The Indianapolis Colts complained that the receivers were getting too beat up, and that's part of the reason you have that 5-yard, the rule there, after 5 yards you can't touch the receivers because the Colts receivers were pissing and moaning and complaining. Them and Peyton Manning. And that whole front office, Bill Polian, he's another piece of work, but I'm not going to get into him. But there was that. And then, if you remember, because I do, Jamie Collins would jump over on the field goal attempts or extra point attempts and jump over the center and get the blocks. They stopped that too. He got 2 rules changed, and all, and not only got 2 rules changed, he also flummoxed freaking Baltimore's old head coach John Harbaugh on that one play where they had the offensive lineman was eligible, lined up out wide, right on as a wide receiver, or whatever. And he declared himself eligible, and some kind of trick play. It worked. He got all bent out of shape about it. The funny part about that stupid play is he used the same play in a different game during earlier in the year, and Belichick just used it against him, and he didn't like it. So, you want to talk about one of the smartest guys ever in league history, and one of the most successful, and he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. I think that's just a load of crap. Because you're going to do this to Tom Brady now for Deflategate, which was also a hoax, and he's not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Put a sock in it. All right. I have to move on. I overran that. I did not mean to do that. Let's talk about the Celtics next. The Celtics had a rough week. They beat Brooklyn. They lost to Chicago on a buzzer beater. They beat Portland and they lost to Atlanta. They got waxed by Atlanta. So the Brooklyn game, I didn't get to see the Brooklyn game because I was out, but I did get to hear the late fourth quarter and the 2 overtimes, and it sounded exciting. Peyton Pritchard, 32 points. Jaylen Brown, triple-double in the game, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists. It came down to when it got down to the end in regulation. Nick Claxton, say that 10 times fast, made a tip dunk shot to make it 103-102 with 16 seconds left. Yeah, Simons got fouled. He only made one of the 2 free throws, so it's tied. For a 104-102 lead. And then Claxton again with the tip dunk. I mean, they couldn't find an answer for this guy. The rebounding, the Celtics got out-rebounded bad in this game. They definitely need big man help. And this is, before the Celtics had got Porzingis and Horford, we had been talking about them getting big guy help. They definitely need that this year. But this guy makes another tip, ties it up. In the first OT, the Celtics had a 4-point lead, and they went cold and allowed the Nets to go up 117-112 with 7.9 seconds left. And in the old days, that would have been curtains. But because of the threes, Peyton Pritchard hit a 3 with 4.7 seconds left to cut the lead to 2. The Celtics fouled Nolan Traore. I didn't even know how to say his name. So if I butcher it, I apologize. But he only hit one of the 2 free throws. And then Hugo Gonzalez hit a huge 3-pointer from the corner, wide open. And with 0.4 seconds left to send it to double overtime. Sam Hauser hit a 3-pointer with 1:51 left to get a 4-point lead. And then Pritchard hit a shot to put him up 130 to 126 with 44 seconds left. And then Amari Williams had a block on a layup at the end of the game. And there's a young guy there that I'm glad they got him. He needs more work though. He's not ready for regular minutes yet. But I do like that they drafted him. I'm still mad they didn't get the other 2 guys that were available, but whatever. So that's a tough, hard-fought win, and one of the better wins for them this season, in my opinion. Luckily, they were good from 3, 22 of 51, 43%. That doesn't happen very often. Next game out against Chicago. Listen, they were really sloppy in that game in the first half. To me, they were lucky to be in it. A lot of bad passing. They just looked out of whack, in my opinion. They look out of sorts. And I don't know if it's the schedule, but something was off. Third quarter, there was a stretch where they got outscored 18-10 in the last 5 minutes of that quarter. There was some back and forth, and they tied it, but they gave up a 3-pointer with 1 second left. Again, tough loss. They were in the game. They had really no right winning the game, in my opinion. So for them to be that close, they were lucky. Jaylen Brown, 33 points, only 2 of 8 from 3 though, and that's really not his game. I don't. He should take like a handful of 3-pointers tops, like 4 or 5, if that. He shouldn't have 8, 10. His game is mid-range. He's killer from inside the 3. He's better suited for that. Derek White, 15 points, 5 of 18 shooting, 3 of 11 from 3. Terrible. Again, another guy I want to see dial it back. He's just not having a good enough shooting yet. He's reminding me too much like Marcus Smart. I love him. He's a good player. He hustles his ass off. He gets a shitload of blocks. Excuse my French. So I like him. I just don't want him shooting too many threes anymore. And they're going to let him do it because he's wide open. If they're going to keep letting him do it, he's going to take them. He's got to stop making them, though. I don't know what's going on with him, but for him to be missing this many is odd to me. Anthony Simons, 21 points. The Celtics as a team were only 15 of 47 from 3, 32%. And they only had 9 free throw attempts. So, Jaylen Brown was, complaining a few weeks ago about, how they only got 4 free throws or whatever. Well, then you're not driving to the basket enough if you're only getting 9 free throws. That's not going to cut it. So, 47 threes and only 9 free throw attempts. That's a bad mix. That ratio is too far off for you guys to win games that way. Next game against Portland, they were on fire. They jump out to a 32-11 lead. After the first quarter, they had a 10-point lead after 3. There was spots where they were up by 20, they were up by 15, they were up by, a bit. Portland really never got close. Peyton Pritchard, 23 points. Jaylen Brown, 20. Derek White, 18. Balanced scoring. Derek White, 7 of 14 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. Much better. Him and Jaylen Brown should both be like doing that. Like, give me mid-range shots and less threes and make half of them. I'm fine with that. Amari Williams off the bench, 9 points, 8 rebounds. They came out flying out of the gate. So, and against a team that's, not that good. So they got to beat these teams. You can't lose to teams that are not good. Only 13 of 34 from 3, 38%. It's not horrible. I guess it's about right. 38. 40%. You're around 40%. 38, 40, 42. They have to consistently be around there if they're going to jack up that many threes. And they did less threes, 34. So, that's a good W there. But last night against the Hawks, man, what a pasting this was. And this was a payback for the 132-106 loss a week or so ago when Sam Hauser hit 10 3-pointers and got 30 points. They also made a trade. They traded Trae Young, was one of their better players, traded to the Wizards. And so I don't know if they got an infusion by trading him. I haven't followed closely enough, without Frank to give you a better clue as to, how things have turned around for them since the trade. But they were on fire in the first, 38-18 after the first quarter. They had a 26-9 lead with 3.5 minutes left. I mean, the Celtics just couldn't buy a basket. These guys were dumping them in like it was nothing. The game was never really close, in my opinion. Second half, I think after the third quarter, I shut it off. I wasn't gonna watch the rest of that misery. They couldn't stop them. Couldn't do anything. 9 of 34 from 3. That's 26%. That's horrible. Like I said, they couldn't. Excuse me. They just couldn't get shots off it. Atlanta was 18 of 42 from 3, 43%. Like I said, there was a period there they were just going in and couldn't stop him. So, tough loss, but they've done much better than I thought they would. I really thought they would be fourth or fifth in the conference, and they're second, or they're tied for second. I think they're tied for first with the Knicks. The Knicks are starting to play better again. So, listen, more scuttlebutt too about Jason Tatum. He was on a podcast, and they had asked him about coming back, and he said now he's not sure if he should. He's worried about what the chemistry is going to look like when he comes back, and he's concerned about whether he should even bother coming back from the injury this year. I don't know if that's semantics, just to try to cool everybody's jets. One of the local reporters around here that covers the team said that, I think he's coming back in February. And it's just him going out on a limb. I don't know that he has any inside information. From the very beginning, I've said he shouldn't come back until, mid-March. My own timeline, I don't want to see him come back in February and rush it. It's not worth it. But if he's questioning it, he must not be 100% comfortable with what's going on. And, there are other players that have had this. Damian Lillard is one of them, come back from this. And so listen, I want him 100%. So if he's not comfortable coming back, fine, don't come back. And not because I don't want you to come back, but I want you to be healthy and not do any kind of damage now this year in a year where you're not really listen, they're going to contend to an extent, but they're not going to really be able to do what they want to do if he's not 100%. So if he's 80% or 90% or even 95%, if he's not sure, man, dude, just sit out. Don't even worry about it. Come back next year 100%, and we'll all be better off for it. Okay. Enough of that. Time to move on. We need to move on to the weekly poll questions. Let's see. We had two. It was revealed that Drake May has a right shoulder injury. How concerned are you heading into the Super Bowl about it? Not concerned at all, 60%. Slightly concerned, 40%. I don't think it's an issue. We'll see. Number two, Bill Belichick has fallen short of being a first ballot Hall of Famer. Do you think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer? We had 100% yes and 0 for no. Unanimous. I don't think anybody thinks that he should not be in already. That's kind of stupid. But we already covered that. So let's move on to the weekly predictions. Let's see. What are my predictions from last week? All right. Last week I said the Patriots would beat Denver by 3 points. Ding, ding, ding. I did not want to really give a score, but they did, and they got the job done. So I finally get one right. Next prediction I had was Bruins Alex Steve will get off the schneid and score a goal. And wrong. This guy, and they extended him too, which is baffling to me, but he hasn't scored since December 23rd. He hasn't scored since before Christmas. I think Santa should have put a couple goals in his stocking because he's in a drought and a half. They need to get some scoring from him. And I like him and I wanted him here, so I'm going to be mad if he has to go back to the AHL and they just extended him. I'm not going to be happy with that. Predictions for this week. Let's see. Okay. I had this prediction a couple weeks ago, but given that Morgan Geekie has started to heat back up, I say he gets a hat trick. I know they only have 2 games, but he had 2 goals in one of the games this week. He's on a mini hot streak. I'd love to see him get a hat trick in the outdoor game. That would be phenomenal. So I'm going to go with that. And my other prediction is the Celtics go 3-1 this week coming up this next week. They have 4 games, one of them tonight. One of them is against Houston at the end of the next week. So I don't know if they're going to win that game. That's going to be a tough game for them. That'll be their toughest game, I think, out of the 4. So 3-1 for the Celtics. I don't have any more predictions, so let's wrap it up. That's it. That's the show. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support. Thanks for voting in the polls. Thanks for the commentary. Make sure to watch us on YouTube, and we'll see you back here next week.